In every strand of our DNA, there's a secret no human was meant to find. He broke the code and awakened something older than time. Stay until the end and subscribe for more stories humanity was never meant to remember.
200 meters below the surface of the Nevada desert, the world was made of steel, concrete, and silence. The Alpha 7 laboratory was a tomb with fluorescent lights. No sound other than the hum of the cooling towers and the occasional pressure crack in the reinforced walls. The night shift was practically a solitary ritual. 2 guards in the main lobby, a biologist in the epigenetic simulation sector, and him, Dr. Elias Turner. Alone in the bioinformatics room, sitting in front of 8 monitors, dry eyes, an untouched coffee cup, and a sequence of mitochondrial DNA flashing in the corner of the screen. Analysis in progress. The clock on the wall marked 0347. Elias leaned back in his chair. His lab coat was open, revealing a wrinkled shirt that said, "Life is RNA." He had been awake for 19 hours. His eyes had stopped watering 2 hours ago. He was examining genetic material extracted from Sumerian bones, part of a batch of 47 samples from ancient civilizations. Sumerians, Mayans, Australian Aborigines, North American tribes. Peoples who never touched, never met, and statistically could never share anything beyond what natural evolution allowed. Project Atlas, officially, was about that. Tracing human DNA back to the first migratory movements, nothing more. Ants' work, almost punishment. But there was something that wouldn't let Elias leave the desk. He typed a new command. The data began to parade across the screen. Lines, columns, ATGC codes. And then, without sound, without alarm, without ceremony, the main screen flashed in red. Anomalous pattern detected. Elias blinked, twice. He zoomed in on the highlighted section. ATGC, GTAC, CGTA, TACG. Nothing much at first glance. It could be noise, contamination. But he knew. "No," he muttered. "No. Is this in all of them?" He ran to an Egyptian sample, then a Mayan one, then a Native American skull from Arizona. Same sequence, same 127 bases, same pattern. Impossible! He stood up suddenly, tripping over the auxiliary notebook cable. He typed again, now manually, line by line. He aligned the data from the 47 samples in parallel columns. They all had that same damned sequence. Elias stood motionless, not out of surprise, but because his brain had entered deep analysis mode, like a machine resetting itself to run a new system. This sequence shouldn't be there. There was no evolutionary reason for it. It was as if someone had copied and pasted a stretch of genetic code into multiple ancient cultures separated by millennia and oceans. The silence in the laboratory seemed now heavy, dense. The same sequence, in all of them, in all of them. He whispered to no one. "This isn't mutation. This is design." And he stood there, motionless, looking at the screen. Without noticing, his coffee grew cold beside him. The fluorescent lights flickered briefly. A distant crack vibrated in the metal of the ceiling. But Elias heard nothing. He just watched, the first to see the signature,
like a
the
spectral
first
beacon in
to
the
realize that someone
Elias
left
growled
us a
softly
message.
and restarted the analysis from scratch. No shortcuts, no automated scripts, all by hand. He exported the 47 samples to a new clean instance. He used third-party software to ensure that the DARPA alignment algorithm was not contaminated. He separated each repeated segment into independent tables. He saved each one with different timestamps. Every time he ran the genetic comparator, the same sequence emerged: 127 nitrogenous bases, identical, perfect. Sumerian, Egyptian, Mayan, Hopi, Aboriginal. It was like finding a universal barcode carved into the genome of peoples who never crossed paths. Elias stared at the data with a strange mixture of dread and reverence. His fingers trembled slightly, but he typed with surgical precision. He opened one of the files and read in a low voice, as if the nucleotides themselves could hear him. A, T, G, C, G, T, A, C, C, G, T, A. Could it be a fossilized virus? A transgenic insertion of unknown origin? Some endogenous retrovirus that spread among primitive human populations? He shook his head. He had already gone through these hypotheses. The temporal and geographical interval between the samples was too wide. There was no common lineage to explain that. And then, for the first time, Elias considered a word he avoided like the plague: intentional. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath. "What if it's not an error?" he whispered. He opened a notepad and began to list hypotheses with scientific precision. 1. Cross-contamination between samples, discarded, isolated environments, different teams. 2. Sequencer artifact, discarded, different equipment, laboratories. 3. Convergent mutation, statistically impossible. 4. Ancestral viral insertion, no known correspondence in retrovirus banks. 5. Synthetic sequence. That last one remained alone on the screen. Elias fixed his eyes on it. Synthetic sequence. Scientists avoided this hypothesis as if it were radioactive, because it implied that someone placed the sequence there deliberately. He typed a new command. The script ran. The numbers filled the screen. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23. No. Elias backed away from the screen slowly, because he knew that sequence. Every scientist knew it. Prime numbers, in order. The genetic sequence was converting without fail into the first 127 prime numbers, repeated in a loop. Elias's body shivered. He felt cold, the kind of cold that didn't come from the industrial air conditioning of the facility, but from the bottom of his spine. Prime numbers do not occur in biology. They belong to pure mathematics, to the language of logic, to cryptography, to codes. And this was a code, and it wasn't from Earth. The code pulsed on the screen like a dead star that still emits light. Elias had already discarded all natural explanations. Only the most dangerous one remained: deliberation. Someone or something had put that sequence there, and it wasn't a crude signature. It was sophisticated, brilliant, layers upon layers of structure. He created a sandbox environment and ran new tests. Each attempt revealed new patterns. In binary code, the sequence generated pairs of bytes that did not repeat randomly, but formed a fractal pattern when viewed graphically. In the ASCII system, some conversions generated recognizable characters, interspersed with impossible symbols. One section resulted in the word begin. Whatever that was, it was not just mathematical noise. It was a construction with purpose. Elias stood up from the chair. He ran his fan over his face. He felt the air different, static, almost electric, as if the environment itself was reacting to what he was discovering. He could no longer hear the hum of the ventilation system. He picked up a notebook, began to draw the conversions by hand, a sequence turning into numbers, turning into characters, turning into shapes, squares, spirals, connections. "This is," he whispered, almost with reverence, "language. Not the language of words, but the universal language, mathematics, geometry, code. And then an image arose in his mind, not rational, but visceral, as if it wasn't his idea, as if it had been pushed inside. A symbol, concentric circles, interlinked by angled lines, surrounding a central point. Familiar, ancient. He had seen it before. But where?
He grabbed his cell phone, looked at the contacts, thought about deleting the idea, but he couldn't. He scrolled to Amanda Ross's name. Biochemist, epigeneticist, alpha security level, project colleague. They had never been close, but she was intelligent, cold, and skeptical. Exactly the kind of person he needed to confirm he wasn't going crazy. He hesitated. Then he tapped call.
Amanda, it's Elias.
Is this serious?
I need you to come to the lab. Now.
Do you know what time it is?
I found something.
Damn it, Elias! What did you find?
A sequence. The same in all samples and in the world's genetic banks. 127 bases.
In all humans. All of them. It must be contamination.
It's not. I ran it 47 times. Convert it to numbers. They're primes, in sequence, starting from 2.
You're gonna have to show me this.
Coming now?
15 minutes.
Elias stood still. The room remained silent. But inside him, everything moved. The thought was clear now. Someone created us and left a signature, hidden where no human eye could see, until one eye, his eye, saw it. The sound of the pressurized door opening echoed through the laboratory. Amanda entered with her hair tied up haphazardly, a gray sweatshirt over her pajamas, and her eyes half closed. But the expression was alert, the kind of look that scientists reserve for when they know the world can change on a late night.
This better be good, Elias.
He didn't answer. He just gestured to the central screen. The data was open. 47 lines, 47 columns, and the same sequence highlighted in each one of them. Beside it, the numerical conversion graph. The prime numbers in perfect order.
What am I seeing?
All these samples have the same sequence, exactly, from the Sumerians to isolated tribes in Papua New Guinea.
There was never contact between them. It's biologically impossible.
She bent down, analyzing the data calmly. She ran her fingers across the keyboard and ran a random verification. Then another, and another. For 40 minutes, the only sound in the room was the dry clinking of the keys. Then Amanda leaned back in the chair, eyes fixed on the screen.
This doesn't make sense.
It does, if it's not natural.
You think someone put this here?
I don't think. I know.
Elias, if this is real, if this signature is really in the genome of the entire human species, then
we didn't evolve. We were created.
this destroys everything. The theory of evolution, biology as we know it, any organized religion.
And Project Atlas wasn't about junk DNA. It was to find this. They knew. They always knew.
Did you report this?
Not yet.
You have to report it. Now, this discovery, it's classified by default. This will go straight to Central Command.
And disappear, like everything that doesn't fit what they want to show. Elias, look me in the eyes. This here, he pointed to the screen, is the most important thing we've ever seen. It's a message, a code inside us. And I won't be the cog that buries this in the bottom of a military vault.
Show me everything you saw.
The lab seemed smaller that morning. Or maybe Elias and Amanda were larger, less human, more something in between. The workbench was covered in notes, cables, drives, cold coffee, and sketches that looked more like modern alchemy rituals. And in the center, the code.
Amanda zoomed in on the screen, highlighting the sequence. Okay, primes, we get it. Let's see what else they're hiding.
She activated a script she had used in epigenetics analysis, a conversion to binary code with 3-bit spacing. The result was dense, but something was moving there.
Look at this.
She pointed.
This grouping, it repeats, but not exactly. It's like a fractal variation.
I'm applying Fourier transform on the binary sequence.
Fourier transform on DNA?
If it's a signal, the frequency will sing. The screen exploded in graphs, soft waves, then peaks. Some symmetrical, others perfectly regular.
This is modulation.
Are you saying the code has rhythm?
I'm saying it was made to be read with music.
Amanda blinked, then laughed, a short, nervous laugh.
This is completely insane.
And totally consistent. They continued. They converted the same sequence to hexadecimal, then to ASCII.
This looks like a transmission header.
Elias just nodded. He knew. Both knew. That was not genetic junk. It was not a static mutation or an evolutionary accident. It was architecture. Each conversion revealed a layer. Each layer revealed a function. And behind the function, a voice.
Not audible, but felt as if the code was waiting to be deciphered. Amanda stepped away from the table and leaned against the steel counter.
Elias, did you ever stop to think
About what?
about what happens when we finish reading this?
He was silent for a moment, and then he answered sincerely. I think the reading has already begun, and I think we are not just the readers. He looked again at the screen. It was like staring into a mirror that didn't reflect you, but who built you. Amanda breathed through her mouth, concentrated, as she typed the last line of the script.
I used this software for the first time to model quantum folding proteins. I never imagined I would map what looks like a damn cosmic antenna.
Elias watched without interrupting. On the screen, the genetic code, already converted into an expanded binary chain, began to take shape in a 3-dimensional graphical environment. First, a mesh of loose points. Then, lines connecting the points. Next, curves. Not random. Perfect order.
Axial rotation activated, adjusting to triaxial axis.
The structure rotated, slowly, revealing an increasingly familiar drawing. It was a stellar pattern, but not just any pattern. A 3-dimensional grid of light points with precise spacings. Elias recognized it. Spherical projection of constellations. Amanda, zoom in on that nucleus. He pointed to the center of the image. She obeyed. The rotation slowed. The center of the image expanded. More points. More interconnections. A spiral.
And then it stopped. The software crashed for a second, as if overloaded with the data resolution. And then it stabilized. And there it was, in a regular spiral galaxy.
This is a map. Elias, this is a star map.
He approached the screen, eyes fixed. It was too detailed to be symbolic. The proportions, the distances, the alignments. Each point was a star. They are not current positions, he murmured. This is the sky from 12,000 years ago. How do you know that? Precession of the equinoxes. The alignments change slowly over time. I'm recognizing the variations in position. Amanda, this projection is historical. She leaned on the table.
They knew where the stars would be 12,000 years ago?
Or that's when this was made. The silence fell again, but it was not empty. It was the sound of two people realizing that they had just opened something that was not just a message, but a direction. The code was not a signature. It was a map, and they were at the point of origin.
Elias opened 2 windows at the same time, the Elias Hipparcos Star Catalog and the NASA Archive, filtering by celestial position and estimated distance.
We're in past time coordinates, he said. If the map shows stars from 12,000 years ago, I need to use the axial precession to correct the current position. She watched in silence as he adjusted the filters. It's matching the Sagittarius belt, part of the Milky Way, but she noticed he stopped.
But what?
In the center of the 3D map, there was a flattened spiral, unmistakable.
That's a galaxy.
But it can't be. There is none registered there.
Not today.
But there was. He pulled up the 1973 IAU catalog and manually typed Sector Zeta-9, Outer Equatorial Region. The answer appeared. NGC 44888. Partial observation. Unusual activity. Awaiting classification.
I've never heard of that.
Me neither. Because in the 1981 records, it simply disappears. He compared the two databases. In the 1973 one, the galaxy was there. In the 1981 one, erased. Without errata. Without justification. Just absent.
They erased it. Someone cleaned up this information.
Not just from the internet, from everything. This here is a phantom galaxy, a constructed blind spot.
And it's in the center of the map.
They stared at each other, a long moment full of questions that still had no name.
This is not just a signature, it is an address.
Elias leaned back. The hum of the lab now sounded like an old hiss, as if it were coming from outside, or from inside the sequence itself. Amanda, what if the code is not just meant to be read?
How so?
What if it is a trigger?
The first email arrived at 0412 a.m., titled, Atypical Neural Activity. Please forward. It was from Sarah Smith, chief neurologist at the Boston Cognitive Research Center. Amanda opened it while still reviewing the map data. Patients on 3 continents report identical symptoms, lucid dreams with unusual architectural structure, unknown language being spoken under hypnosis, activation of brain zones considered inactive. Sarah attached a video. A man was lying on a gurney, EEG on his scalp, body trembling slightly. He opened his eyes mid-recording, pupils dilated, and spoke in a calm tone, not in English, nor in any known language.
Elias,
He turned.
listen to this.
She hit play again. The patient's voice was low, hypnotic. Zethra kalumbri shurakai. That sounds like, he hesitated, a constructed language. Amanda typed back, Sarah, do you recognize any linguistic structure in this audio? The reply came in seconds. No, but the rhythmic pattern is perfect. It sounds like an engineered language, not human.
The message is being read by people.
He turned fusandini fut urbersu vishayi. They are decoding what's inside them. He walked to the side panel, breathing with difficulty. Amanda, I think it has already started. What? The awakening.
News reports on loop. Social media in a frenzy. A single word began to repeat, attached to shaky videos, disjointed accounts, and disturbing images. Awakened. In Tel Aviv, a child who had never studied music composed a harmonic pattern based on the Fibonacci series. In Colombia, an elderly woman who had never left her village spoke fluent Sumerian, identifying extinct constellations. In Iceland, an engineer diagnosed with severe dyslexia designed an unpowered machine that looked like a primitive particle accelerator. Sarah Smith was the first to notice the invisible link between them. She uploaded 3 complete genomes for Elias.
I compared all of them with the sequence you found.
She said during the video conference.
All of the awakened have a duplication of the segment in question.
A duplication. Amanda frowned.
A second copy.
An active...
A redundant circuit.
The words left his mouth before he could contain them.
The awakened are not receiving a signal. They are the signal.
The awakened are the signal, he continued. Sarah took a deep breath.
I need to know What did you discover?
Amanda hesitated, then shared the screen. She showed the map, the structure, the empty center.
Sarah just shook her head.
My God, this is not just about humans. This, he said quietly, is about what came before humans.
That night, Amanda didn't sleep. Neither did Elias. They overlaid the coordinates of the Phantom Galaxy with shortwave telescope records. Nothing. No signal. No radio emission. He drew a conclusion.
It's either dead or it was erased.
She was typing, looking at the genetic logs of the awakened.
Look at this. This segment here. In all of them, it starts repeating even before birth.
The architect's code is activated in utero.
Like an information backup, dormant, until it receives a stimulus.
And the stimulus, he looked at her, was the decoding. We opened the code. That started the transmission. He leaned back in the chair. The ceiling seemed lower. So we're the ones responsible. She didn't answer, but she didn't need to. The helicopter landed in the desert at 3:17 a.m. Amanda and Elias were surrounded by soldiers before they could even get up from the station. In the center of the group, a man in a dark suit steps down, too calm for the moment. Dr. Turner, Dr. Ross, my name is Hathaway. He handed them a tablet. On the screen, a protocol with the DARPA seal, codes, red lines. On top, Phoenix.
What is this?
A shutdown, an adaptive RNA sequence. It will silence the activated chain in human DNA.
The awakened?
We'll stop. All of this will be forgotten, as it has been before.
What do you mean before?
Elias fixed his gaze on him.
You are not the first, but you can be the last.
Will this kill people?
Perhaps, but not as many as the alternative.
The alternative is the truth.
The alternative, Hathaway said seriously, is the end of humanity as we know it. They had 24 hours to accept, or the protocol would be executed without them. But Elias already knew what he would do. At 6:41 a.m., he was online. He hacked the internal network of Project Atlas. He released all the data. Genetic sequence, conversions, the star map, the erased galaxy, and a video message. The code is in all of us. We were created with a purpose that we forgot, but the message has been activated. The awakening has begun. Now, the choice is yours. The video went viral in 11 minutes. 36 million views, hundreds of thousands of comments, automatic translations, theories, hysteria, worship. And then, silence. Elias felt it in his body, like an invisible electric current passing through his spine. The sequence was active in everyone, and there was no turning back. He looked at Amanda. She just nodded in silence. On the screen, the first reports. I dreamed of the city of crystal. I saw myself building something with light. They're coming back. Or maybe they never left. Elias closed his eyes and saw the galaxy light up.
Elias was right. The signal couldn't be stopped. And now the world remembers. But this is only the first awakening. Do you want to see what happens next? Comment below if you're ready for part 2. See you next.